the NFL season's coming up. We're in preseason mode right now. Almost everyone has played, including the rookies that have been drafted this year.
Hmm.
So what I'll do is kind of I'll do a breakdown of some rookies that have been on the media's eye. So I'll start with Jackson Smith Njigba, who plays for Seattle. In his debut game, he had 3 receptions for 25 yards. And then you have Jamar Gibbs, who now plays for Detroit, played for Alabama. Really good, by the way. 6 carries for 19. CJ Stroud plays for Houston, 50% completion percentage, 13 yards and interception. So nothing really.
Really
Um,
bad interception too, by the way.
yeah,
Really bad.
yeah, nothing really worth noting. And then you got Anthony Richardson, QB for Indy, 58% completion, 67 yards, but also an interception. But breaking news, he will be the starter on week 1.
Yes, it
So
will.
I'm happy for him. I wish him the best because Colts QBs usually have the short end of the stick.
Yeah,
Um,
especially the last couple of years.
yes.
They have been really bad.
Yeah, Bryce Young, probably the most notable quarterback. He's also the first overall pick, plays for Carolina Panthers. Not a bad performance, 67% completion for 21 yards. And I did watch the Hard Knocks episode where he was featured in it with the joint practice and the
Hmm.
preseason game against the Jets.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty nice guy, based on the conversations that I saw on the documentary show. But I like him the most in terms of the quarterbacks selected. Just more polished. Sure, the height thing's an issue, but you have to remember Kyler Murray was probably arguably shorter than him, but he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that leads me to my actual main point of this segment here as the best odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And right now you have Bijan Robinson plus 300. Bijan Robinson hasn't yet played in the preseason. He plays for the Atlanta Falcons, but he will make his debut this weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I kind of want to give my thoughts of kind of what I would want to look for in terms of making my pick for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And there's 3 kind of categories to fall. What's their playing time like? Are they going to be a day 1 starter? Are they going to be RB2 or wide receiver 2 or quarterback 1? And how supported are they? So this
Hmm.
includes who their head coach is, what their O-line looks like, and what are the weapons around them look like. So that can go from QB to receiver to tight end,
Yep.
everybody. And then the last one is the boom bust potential. So this is where you kind of have to look at how they've been doing in not only the preseason but practice, but what their kind of their trend has looked like in college as well.
And
So
if they're
I
hype or not, like
if
too
they're
much
hype
hype
or
or
not,
not. Yeah.
that's very true. So Bijan Robinson, he fits into pretty much all 3 of these sort of segments that are categories I mentioned. He's going to be RB1 right off the bat.
Hmm.
Like he's in the depth chart as the first option. He's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of showtime moments for him. So his playing time is you'll see a lot more production out of him. In
Hmm.
terms of how he's supported, so his head coach is Arthur Smith, who's really not a notable coach. However, there's one thing I found very interesting about his resume. He's very offensive minded. With his 2 seasons with Tennessee, he was the offensive coordinator. That was when they had Derrick Henry. And
Hmm.
so if he's able to work with Derrick Henry, who is arguably one of the best running backs in the league, especially in those 2 seasons that Smith was there, he maybe can find some potential or some production with this new shiny toy, which is Bijan Robinson.
Hmm.
And this is the stat that I like the most. Oh, not necessarily a stat, but it's a ranking. So PFF made their list for preseason O-line rankings, and Atlanta falls in 7th place in terms of the rankings. If you have a good O-line, you have a good foundation for success. Not only the quarterback position, but the running back position, because that O-line has to get you the right kind of the right position to make sure you do some damage. Because if your O-line can't protect the quarterback, the running back, you're not going to get very far.
Yep.
So it gives me a little confidence that Bijan can be productive and trust his O-line to help him get the yards he needs to win this award. And look at his quarterback. It's Desmond Ridder.
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder, I like Desmond Ridder. I think he's a nice guy. He works hard, but he's very limited in terms of his skill at the quarterback position. And so his arm talent's not the greatest. So he'll probably have to lean more towards Bijan Robinson to really carry the load, whether it's giving him the ball or simple screen passes because Bijan Robinson can catch, which
Mm-hmm.
leads to my last thing is the boom bust potential. He's the 8th overall pick, first running back taken in the top 10 since Saquon Barkley. And we know Saquon Barkley, he is a beast, just as any
Yeah.
Hawkeye fan.
Oh,
And looking at Bijan's college statistics, all 3 seasons he's played, he's averaged over 6 yards per carry. And back-to-back seasons, he had 1,000+ yards, which isn't very easy to do. And this goes
mm-hmm.
on to us saying about him being able to catch 15+ receptions each season at Texas. Like the running back position has changed. It's not the 90s where your only job as a running back is to just run the ball down. You got to be
Yep.
able to be a multi-purpose weapon, which is to run the ball and make some catches. So Desmond Ritter has to depend on him for those screen passes that he probably is going to have to be thrown to him. So that's why I think this pick for offensive rookie of the year is almost a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, no, I like it. I remember seeing a stat not too long ago. I mean, I think this is last year maybe, but about the Falcons' offensive line. So when you brought up like them being 7th ranked preseason, it didn't really surprise me because I remember seeing that they had, I think it was either last year or the year before, all 5 starters on the offensive line were first round draft picks, and they were at the time the only line that had 5 first round draft picks on their offensive line. And I was just looking it up. A couple of them are still there, like Jake Matthews and Chris Lindstrom. They currently have 3 first rounders, 1 second rounder, and a 4th rounder as their projected starters. But still, I mean, that stuff helps a ton, especially if they've proven to uh, give good results. You know, because I mean, I I hate talking about the Vikings offensive line outside of the 2 tackles because we have drafted offensive line pretty high pretty consistently, and not a lot of them have really panned out. And so that's where it's like the first round thing doesn't really always matter, but a lot of times it does because uh, a lot of the times those guys are standouts in college for a reason, and a lot of like their play transitions to the NFL pretty well as well. Also, in case you're curious, the Falcons and Bengals are playing right now, and Bijan has 4 carries for 20 yards so far.
Oh,
One catch for 6 yards. So he's already getting targets. I mean, like you said, that's probably not going to be the majority of what he does, but he can catch out of the backfield. So, and he's going to need to. I mean, pretty much every running back outside of Derrick Henry, which he does a little bit, but pretty much every other running back is having to catch out of the backfield just based off of how teams are approaching like offenses now.